Going to talk about bullets. Talked about bullets to some extent before. I think it's quite necessary to talk about bullets again. And one of the main reasons being is that we've got a segment of people, I think they're quite young, that have no idea at all, making some pretty big claims with some of these real fragile bullets. These things started many years ago, 55 years ago or longer, 60 years ago, with real thin jacketed bullets. And I'm talking about bullets that have got jackets that are 30-some thousandths up to about 40 thousandths thick. There's nothing to control their expansion. They're just conventional bullets. And most of these bullets are boat tail design bullets, and they've got a fairly pointed profile, fairly high ballistics coefficient. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Ballistics coefficient, you can look at your ballistics tables. You can take for instance, a 338 bullet that's 225 grains. It's got a ballistics coefficient of let's say 550. Now, take that same bullet and run it at a 700 ballistics coefficient. Sight it in at 100 yards, 3 inches high. Both bullets going the same velocity. At 400 yards, there's between an inch and a half of difference in the trajectory. Now, so much for our ballistics coefficient. I think most of our game is killed inside of 400 yards. And the ballistic coefficient does matter to some extent in some of our extended ranges. But many of these ballistics coefficient situations are canceled out by poor bullet construction. The ballistics coefficient isn't worth a damn. It got there, yeah, it hit the animal, but the fact of the matter is the bullet didn't hold together. The bullet came apart. The bullet shed its core. The jacket just disintegrated into shrapnel. Now, these are not game bullets. And I don't care what anybody's got to say about it, because I have been testing bullets almost my entire lifetime, my full hunting career of 55 years. I know what works and I know what doesn't work. Any bullet designed for game has got to have some ability to limit its expansion, to keep it from destroying itself in a normal shot in the armpit of an elk, a deer, a sheep, an antelope, whatever it might happen to be. And it gets many times worse when we shoot into shoulders and one thing another. These bullets, I always look at whose ever bullet and what the ballistics coefficient is. And I shoot all my rifles, my personal rifles, at distances, considerable distance. I'm able to shoot to 840 yards. I know how these things work out for me. We have the ability, or various companies have the ability, to test bullets by radar, Doppler radar. And there's claims that our particular bullet remains absolutely the same from here clear out to way yonder. Well, that all sounds wonderful to guys that are buying into the hype But that very bullet that they're describing to you that has, a constantly same ballistic coefficient, checked out by Doppler radar, it's a sorry damn game bullet. And I'm referring to Hornady EDLX bullets in whatever caliber it is. It doesn't make any difference. And they claim to have an interlock on them. I've sectioned these bullets. I've measured the jacket wall thickness. I've looked at it. It's got the tiniest little excuse of an interlock. It's not like the regular interlock bullets that we've known for quite a few years. I've had reasonably good luck with the bullets that are marked on the box when you buy them interlocks. But I've had very, very poor luck with the bullets that I'm describing to you. They're no better than somebody else's cup and draw bullet. That's all that they are. And yeah, they're thinned down a little bit towards the nose, and they got a plastic tip. That's part of the problem. That there's a big cavity in the front end of that bullet to accept the shank of that plastic tip to hold it in place, and so forth. And that's part of why these bullets expand unreliably and go to hell, and why they come apart. They're no better than the poor Sierra bullets and the poor Hornady match bullets and so forth that we're using in the Berger bullets. Berger doesn't make a true hunting bullet, but they've figured out that there's a lot of you suckers out there that'll buy this stuff, and Hornady's figured this thing out too. There's a bunch of suckers out here, and they're selling bullets, but there's a lot of real poor success coming in here. I have people constantly getting a hold of me, people that I know. I have an individual that shoots more animals than just about anybody around, and he's my test guy for bullets. And if they don't perform right, with him testing them, I don't even bother to shoot them. I almost always invariably know, because I section every bullet before I try these things. I know what goes to hell. And a lot of these bullets are being loaded in cartridges that are giving higher velocities than what the bullets were even designed for. Well, that compounds the situation many times over. A bullet that's poor at some of our standard velocities, say around 2,850 feet a second, you run those at 3,100, 32, 33, 3,400 feet a second in some of these cartridges, it's real obvious that they're not going to work. And we're doing this to flatten our trajectories and so forth because of ballistics coefficient. I've studied ballistics and ballistics coefficients and paid attention to them my entire hunting career. And to be real honest with you, the only advantages that I have realized has been on the game that I have shot. The few animals that I shot, maybe over the years I've shot 50 animals past 500 yards between there and say about 650 or something like that. And that's also at a point where velocities dropped off and so forth. Now some of these bullets might work just a little bit better out there at 600 yards than they would at 200 yards that I'm talking about, but you're still not going to be really tickled. And if you really pay any attention, I've had guys tell me that the bullet just punched a hole through an animal. Well, yeah, that's what bullets are made to do. They're made to punch a hole through an animal. And but all bullets, once they impact an animal, they start opening very, very quickly. And that shock value that's realized from that bullet opening, had somebody comment that, it's the hole in the animal that killed it. It's not anything to do with energy. Well, for crying damn out loud, Why don't we hunt everything with a 22 Hornet if that's the case? If we don't need energy, we just need a hole in it. I mean, Eskimos have killed walruses and you know, polar bear with 22 Hornets. Well, does that make it right? Tell the people over in Africa, tell the professionals over in Africa that energy doesn't have something to do with killing these animals. If these bullets disintegrate almost automatically, they can't deliver the proper energy in the central part of that animal to be able to get the effect. It's no wonder why people around the country are picking up these deer heads, elk heads, sheep heads, and one thing and another that have been wounded by people using poor ammunition, you know, making poor choices, extreme long-range shooting, and one thing and another. This is all just part of what I'm talking about all the time. I know what works, and I keep abreast of everything that comes out. I pay attention to it. I can tell right off the bat when it comes to bullets. First thing I do is section it, and if the bullet's a thin jacketed bullet, I already discount it that it's not suitable. These thin jacketed bullets are fine on these little animals, little white-tailed deer and one thing and another, for the most part. But there's still better choices even for them. And I know what those choices are. It's a good controlled expanding type of a bullet. We've got a lot of them. That's why companies have invested millions of dollars in the development of these things and the marketing. And these bullets work. But this latest sales gimmick to try and sell us these poor quality bullets for hunting is just nothing short of ridiculous. And I'm going to continue to talk about it. And maybe the message will get out there, and maybe we'll see less of these animals that are wounded. Our game departments know that this is going on all the time, and they're pretty well disgusted with it. So, you know, as a hunting community, I think that one of the first things we need to do is make a good choice in the bullets that we use, and also a good choice in what we attempt as a shot on our wildlife, because I'm seeing our wildlife disappear. This year has been the worst year for hunting in this part of Wyoming in my 55 years of hunting. How long is this going to go on? How long are we going to have hunting? It's really taken a big dump, and it's really sorry, it's really sickening and saddening to see this happen. This has been my life, this has been my passion. I'm speaking out for it, and I think everybody better be concerned. You know, we had in this area here this year implemented 4-point or better. Had to be a 4-point, at least 4 points on one side of a deer antler to be able to shoot the deer. We have people just crying their eyes out because they couldn't just shoot a forky horn for meat. Well, oh boy, is this where it's went? I think it has. I think it's just really went to hell. We've taken about half the number of deer this year in this area here through our check station. So it's going to help, but it needs to stay in place, and people need to police themselves and, you know, show some respect for this wildlife from every angle.